You guys are heading into your final regular game of the season. Regular season game. You guys still undefeated. I mean, how are you guys feeling going into this final game against NC State before the postseason?
We are all super excited. Obviously, this is our senior night game, so it means even more. I know a lot of parents are coming out, some that we haven't seen yet, and just meeting certain senior parents, which would be awesome, kind of bring us closer together and everything. And I think just kind of trying to grow upon our past games and try and finish strong going into the ACC tournament. So I think everyone's just super excited to, especially it being a home game, a good turnout.
Tactically, just what does NC State present?
They're a very professional team. I think just for us, we're just going to come in like every other game. We're going to obviously look at what they show and present to us, and then we'll come out strong and attack as fast as we can, obviously, just trying to put the game on our terms. And I think in the sense of it being NC State, we just kind of have to obviously be aware of their personnel, but put the game on our terms, like I said.
We've heard so much about how good the offense has been this year, but you get a view of what's been like on the back line of the defense, and specifically in the goal. I guess how strong has all of that been this season? On that side of the field for you guys.
It's been awesome. Obviously, we've been scoring a lot of goals, which is awesome, and I think through the beginning of the season to now, we have grown tremendously, especially defensively wise. We gave up a couple goals that I wasn't very happy about personally, just being the goalkeeper, obviously. And so I think being able to grow upon that and how far we've come now and how we're not giving up those goals now, I'm super proud of our team and just the willingness to grow and get better throughout each game.
You've logged a lot of minutes this year as well. I mean, how have you stayed fresh each game? How have you just stayed consistent throughout the year?
I think all of us just take recovery, thank you. All of us take recovery very seriously, just going to the tubs right after, doing everything that our strength and conditioning coach tells us to do, our athletic trainer, just getting everything fixed before it becomes an actual problem or anything like that. So they do a great job of just being in our ear 24/7, like, okay, you need to do this, make sure you're doing all the right things when it comes to sleeping, food, and everything like that.
What do you credit the defensive growth of this team to? Is it simply playing minutes together, getting more comfortable, or did something change at some point?
I think it would be minutes, but obviously we've had just certain things that happen, so we have to learn from that. So watching it on film, being able to assess, okay, maybe we could have approached this a certain way, and then coming out and practicing it and doing that in the next game. So I think overall it's just learning from our mistakes and then just limiting the amount of mistakes we do make on an individual perspective, if that makes sense.
In soccer, there's goals that's easy to judge how offense does, and you have saves that judges how a keeper does, but there's no real defensive stats. So how do you credit a defensive back for being able to how they do their job? How do how do they earn credit for that?
I think we kind of just yell at each other like, oh, good job. Nothing really number-wise, obviously, like you said, but I think it's mostly just knowing that we have each other's backs 24/7. Lauren did a great job of scoring the other day, so obviously it's not just forwards who could score on this team, which is awesome, and I'm obviously celebrating with her because that's as close as I'm going to get, but so super proud of them in that aspect.
You mentioned minutes have been a big part in the defense, really, growing throughout the year. There been a game this season that really, pushed the defensive effort this year, really pushed you guys to really, step up in the moment, has allowed you guys to get to where you are today?
Obviously, I think it would be UNC, our only tie this regular season. I think it really brought a lot out of us and showing where we can be better, but also where our strengths are. And specifically in that game, it was obviously we tied in the last few seconds, which was a close one for sure, but I think just going into future games, knowing what we're capable of and learning from that, and maybe even from the mistakes we made in that game, has made us even stronger as a team.
You've been in a lot of big games as well in the postseason, deep into the postseason as well. At the same time this year, you guys have played in some really close competitive games. That UNC game, the Pitt game, how close have those been in just mirroring what you guys might experience down the road in the postseason?
ACC overall is a great conference in general, so being able to play against these harder teams, and being able to, like I said, learn from our mistakes early on in the season is very beneficial going into the postseason, and knowing that we're going to face even maybe the same teams or even harder teams and things like that. It's nice to know ahead of time for sure.
You mentioned senior night earlier. Have you made a decision about next year, or are you still thinking?
I think it's just kind of up in the air. We're just taking it day by day. I love FSU and just everything that it provides for me, especially the staff and everything, teammates. So taking it day by day.